Now let's discuss that further with Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from London. Mr. Gosling, welcome to the program. I wanted your initial thoughts on this. When Trump builds his case on the words of a private Iranian citizen made years ago, but not Tulsi Gabbard, what does that mean exactly?
Look, there is a major problem with the British and the Americans, is that they like starting wars based on rumours. And this sounds to me much more like a rumour than intelligence. If you want to listen to private citizens and treat these as facts, why don't you have a listen to a guy called Martin van Creveld? He is an Israeli. I'm not sure, actually, may have passed away now, but he threatened to use Israel nuclear weapons to bomb European cities, Berlin, Paris, and Rome. And so do the United States, does the White House want to quote him and say that here is a private citizen and we're rather concerned because our assessment tells us that Israel has nuclear weapons and Israel may bomb European cities with them. I mean, it's just not very good intelligence to be picking up on something that just some guy has said, who may be in the know and may not. Let me tell you, I'm not in the know. I have no idea whether Iran has nuclear weapons or not, but my assessment is that Israel most definitely does. There's plenty of evidence for that and admissions. So, particularly since the Gaza genocide, several Israeli ministers have admitted to the presence of nuclear weapons. So, the question is, when you keep hearing on the Western press this phrase, Iran nuclear program, what is that supposed to mean? I think it's actually a dog whistle. The idea is you're signaling to the viewers and the listeners that it is a nuclear weapons program. I think personally, no. Because I've seen and read a translation of the fatwa issued by the supreme Iranian leader saying that the country will not produce nuclear weapons because they're so indiscriminate a weapon of mass destruction on moral grounds. Now, this is a fantastic attitude to take. I wish Western leaders would take this attitude. What the Ayatollah said at the time was that there would be far too many innocent people killed if such a weapon was used. Well, wouldn't it be nice if the Israelis would think like that, the British, the French, and the United States? So if you're just starting to discuss the presence of Iranian nuclear weapons, you're already going into what we like to call Iraq war territory. That is, weapons of mass destruction, lies being told by senior government officials, which are trotted out by intelligence services. And the trouble is, none of these people have to do any fighting. The politicians or the intelligence chiefs don't. The government communications people don't actually have to live with any of the consequences of the lies they tell, like the lies they told in the Iraq war, the illegal Iraq war.
Exactly. Mr. Gosling, Trump chooses to ignore his own official, U.S. intelligence official, that Tulsi Gabbard, that Iran is not pursuing a nuclear weapon. Iran does not even have a nuclear weapons program, and goes with the words of an Iranian citizen from years ago and posts this on social media. This reveals a contradiction between it's a gap between official intelligence in Washington and political rhetoric in Washington. A lot of people say it's because of the Israeli lobby. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, look, the Israeli lobby is the swamp. It's what Donald Trump in his first term guaranteed he was going to drain the swamp. Well, the trouble was he didn't quite know where the swamp, he hadn't got a map of the swamp, and he started employing a lot of swamp people. That is to say, the people who are trying to, Europeans as well, of course, in the Israel lobby in the United States, who are trying to steer the United States in a certain direction to back up the mainly British aims over the many decades to use Israel as this kind of crusader state, almost a medieval crusader state in the Middle East to get their way. I think the United States needs to keep out of the Middle East. They've been doing quite a good job with the Russia and Ukraine, but they're completely unhinged, it seems to me, with the Christian Zionist pressure there, and that's actually to me, they've just got to keep away. Why are they keeping on interfering? You're talking about all the lobbying, for example. The reason this happens is because as soon as somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, I think, has had decent intentions originally, they're now Director of National Intelligence in the US. What happens is she gives a delivery when she's not in the government, and then she finds all sorts of pressures put on her. It might even be, by the way, that she's privy to intelligence in government that she wasn't privy to outside government. So that may be why she's been changing her mind about whether Iran. I think she said recently that Iran may be just a few months away from having a nuclear weapon. But this is really just parroting the Israeli line. So we don't know really what's going on. None of us are privy to these top secret, whether or not people have nuclear weapons. But it certainly looks as if there's lots of political pressure in the United States on, and the last thing you want in intelligence circles is political pressure. The intelligence people have got to be able to say whatever it is that they really believe, and it really honestly looks as if Tulsi Gabbard, in her heart of hearts, believes there are none. But she's being put with political pressure. Look at what's been going on just in the last few days over Jeffrey Cruz being sacked. He said, he said that it was Iran's nuclear program would only be delayed by a few months because of the strikes on the 22nd of June by the United States on Iran in the what they'd be calling the 12-day war. So exactly. there are all sorts of pressures once you get into government to say what they want you to say, and it takes a very, very strong personality. I mean, maybe Gabbard is that person, who knows, to actually tell the public and tell the politicians honest intelligence. And I think that she's been doing that. Gabbard has been doing that over Ukraine. It's time for her to now start doing that over Iran and say, look, it's Israel which is the problem with nuclear weapons, using them and threatening them in the Middle East, not Iran.
Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from London.